getting live on the drive. It's a little later than I thought I'd be on here. And as you can tell from my voice, I got a bit of a cold coming on. Nasal drip dripping into the back of my throat. It's kind of painful, but this shit happens. We'll get through it. Anyways, so today's live from the drive is your own. Hey Carrie, how are you doing? Friday night. Today's live from the drive is a special live from the drive. It's really not that special, but it is a practice podcast because I have. I want to do a solo podcast. Maybe I'll record. Probably won't be this week because my voice is shit right now. But what I want to do is do a dry run of it and get my thoughts together. Two things I want to talk about is goals and motivation. So the first thing, hey Mac Daddy, the first thing about goals is I think a lot of people are trained to set goals and the idea of like you want to do something that's measurable, it's actionable, it's quantitative, and there's like a deadline. Like I'm going to do this many X's by this many days. And I don't like it. I don't like goals that way. I think goals are stupid, to be honest with you. In the sense of big picture goals. Like, I'm gonna give you an example. If your goal is to have a really nice Ferrari, or like you want to make a certain amount of dollars, like chances are, like if you get to that point where you achieve that goal, like you're gonna hit it and you're gonna say, okay, now what? That moment of accomplishment is fleeting. Like you've accomplished it, and the joy and happiness and fulfillment you think you're gonna get from reaching a certain level of income or getting a fancy car is not gonna be fulfilled. So what I think is a better goal, a better way to like visualize like long-term plans is visualize an experience or a lifestyle you want to live. So there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I want a Ferrari. But just the act of like, I want a Ferrari and I want to make enough money to buy a Ferrari might not be what's going to make you happy. What might make you more happy is when you visualize what you want. So like a better example would be like, well, why do you want a Ferrari? Maybe you're like a car dude and you really love Ferraris and you like talking about Ferraris with other Ferrari dudes, and you want to go to Ferrari meetups and wear Ferrari jackets and talk about Ferrari shit. And that's really, really cool because you're visualizing an experience and a lifestyle you want to live. You want to be a part of something. And that is like creating an experience revolving around this thing that you have a passion about. But if you just like say, I want to do something. Because I'll be honest with you, like I make more money now than 20 years ago. Not even 20, but like, yeah, probably like say 20 years ago when I was first getting in the industry. I said, hey, I want to be at a certain level of income. Well, I make way more money now than I did at that point. That dollar value I wanted to get to was like minuscule compared to like what I thought was capable. So I think when you set your expectation of like, I want to achieve a certain thing like this, when it's just a task or it's just an object, like a goal, I think you're not going to find fulfillment. Instead, I'd rather visualize the life I would want to be at. So if I say, hey, in 5 years, I want my life to feel a certain way, then you start setting tasks and objectives that take you down a path to get you there. Is this taking me closer to my dream life or not my dream life? So when you start like writing down the things in your mind, how do I want to live in 5 years? Do I want like a family? Do I want kids? Do I want a girlfriend, a boyfriend? And we're doing these things, we're enjoying these activities, then what are the things I need to do to get that feeling? So So yes, having income and having goals to achieve income like helps you along that path, but if that's just your set goal, that's not going to do it. So I suggest you set a vision of how you want your lifestyle to be, and then you start making tasks, which are more like what people typically consider goals, is like, I need to do XYZ to get there. So, you know, along that path, you might say, well, you know, I want to live this certain lifestyle. I want to have a house and a pool and 2 dogs and kids. Okay, well, maybe I don't make that income that I could do that right now. So instead, you're going to start thinking about like, okay, well, what are the skills? What are the tasks? What are the education? What is the experience I need to own and do to be able to get there? And when you start thinking about that in a bigger picture, like, I think you're going to go down this path where you don't always know, hey, I'm not sure it's exactly where I'm going, but it's going to take you in a place that's more likely to get you to that outcome. So that's my take on goals. I still think like goals have a purpose and a point where like if you need improvement, and it's like, I think I watched a video in their HR department where this airline out of South America, I forget which country, like they had really, really poor on-time schedules, and they were like just like on the verge of bankruptcy, and they turned it around. They said, hey, we're gonna have so many we're gonna have like a really, really low percentage of late flights and late leaving of the gate. And so they like really streamlined their process. So that's like a good goal, because like at a company level, corporate level, pushing it down, there's a clear objective and everybody knows what they're on board with. But a lot of times, you know, we work in corporations, we're working for companies, or we work for ourselves, and those objectives aren't always clearly identifiable in that sense. So then you start thinking, well, how can you still implement goals when things are so chaotic, or there's not defined endpoints and stuff like that? So that's where I suggest you start with the vision. Set a vision of where you want to be in a few years. And I don't even like going out too far, because one thing is, if you think what you can accomplish in a year, you're probably going to overestimate what you can do, because we get all excited, get gung-ho. But what we clearly don't do is we underestimate in 5 years what we can do. So you're gonna miss a mark both ways. You're gonna be, you know, you might not be day to day progressing the way you think you're going to be progressing, but in 5 years' time, you're gonna probably exceed where you thought you would be in 5 years from today. So that's why set a vision that's maybe like 3 to 5 years out. Like, this is how I want my life to be. This is the things I want in my life. This is how I want my career to be. And then start taking actions that take you down that path. Which kind of leads me to my next topic, which was motivation. I'm a big motivation person. I like motivation. I like reading motivational quotes. I like reading motivational books. I like watching motivational stories. And I've always, not always, but for a long, long time, probably most of my adult life, liked this idea of motivation. And there's this guy named Zig Ziglar that's like a famous motivational speaker, and he had this thing that was called, how's the saying go? He says, motivation doesn't last, but neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it every day. And so for a long time I thought, like, yeah, you got to stay motivated, you got to stay like positive, you got to be doing this stuff, but motivation is really fleeting. Like, some days we're motivated, we're highly motivated, we're gung-ho, we're feeling in the moment, we're feeling good, let's fucking jam on it, and we do it. But there's a lot of days when we don't want to go, we feel like crap, and we're not motivated. And to be honest with you, that's probably more days than we're motivated. And you think about it and you go, well, why am I not as motivated as other people? And why can't I be motivated all the time, like these books say and these speakers say and all these people are saying? Be motivated and do motivated shit and you'll do it, or fake it till you make it. And what the reality is like, you can't keep this level of motivation at all times. Like, it is fleeting. You can't replenish it every day. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. And where it really, really changed for me was I was listening to this guy. He's a former Navy SEAL, Jocko Willink. He has a book called Extreme Leadership, and it's a really good book about like how Navy SEAL teams react and implement stuff, and how that might apply to like life and business and stuff like that. So he coaches businesses with some of like the Navy SEALs trainings, but he talks about discipline, and he has a saying called discipline equals freedom. And at first you think, oh, that's just stupid. It's just like all, tough guy talk. But he has this video, and I love this video, and I always watch it when I forget. And he talks about, what do you do on the days you don't feel like doing it? What do you do when you don't feel like getting up in the morning, going to the gym, or working on a project? And he says, on the days I don't want to go, I get up and I go anyways. And I do it anyways. If I don't want to work on a project, I hammer on a project. If I don't want to go to the gym, I go to the gym. Even if it's just getting there and going through the motions. Just showing up, putting in the work, getting things done. And when you have that discipline, that's what's going to get you through those hard parts when you don't want to go. Those are the things like, I don't feel motivated today. Well, motivation's gone, but discipline will tell you, I'm going to do it anyways. And that video got in my head, and every time I hear that video, I hear the video in my head, I hear his voice in my head. When I hear the alarm clock go off, and I say, I'm kind of tired, like, man, I don't really want to go. Maybe I'll go tomorrow. And old me would have said yes, but new me hears that voice in my head and it says, no, you need to get up and you need to go. If you get out of bed, you're gonna go downstairs, and you're gonna have a little coffee. You're gonna put on your shoes. You're gonna pack up the car. You're gonna get in the car and you're gonna drive to the gym. And by the time you get to the gym, you're not super tired like you've been. You're not wanting to be in that bed all cozied up. And you're gonna get to the gym. You're gonna start doing the workout, and you're gonna start, working on whatever it is. Maybe it's not the gym. Maybe it's working on a project. And before you know it, you're done with it. And a lot of times, and I'm going to tell you from experience, more often than not, when you do that, you have a better day, a more productive day in the gym or on the project than you think you would have had you stayed home. You said, I don't feel like it. It's going to be a shit show anyways. I'm not going to go. But when you go anyways, you walk out and you go, I actually did a lot better than I thought I was going to do. And you're happy about it. But there's also a lot of times when you're super motivated, like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to fucking crush it today, and you get just annihilated, and the weight crushes you that day, or the project crushes you, and you don't perform. So you can't go on motivation. You have to go on discipline. And then he talks about rest days. Like, do you take a rest day? And he talks about the rest day is the only thing you want to put off till tomorrow. So if you feel like you need to take a break and not go through the motion, do what you need to do. He says, give that, wait a day. Go anyways today. Do it. Tomorrow, take your day off. And chances are that desire to take a day off is weakness. It's, thank God, Jesus Christ. A cat just jumped out of the street and I fucking missed him. Thank fucking God. That was, woo, hearts up. Anyways, not planned. Sidetracked there. So anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, take your rest day tomorrow. Go today. And that weakness, that laziness, it's in your mind. It's tomorrow. If you still feel that way, take that rest day. But chances are you're going to feel like good. You're going to feel like you didn't need it. So that's why a lot of times I don't plan rest days. Like, this is kind of specific to working out, but at the same time, I think it's related to anything. When you take days off, you take planned days, like, life gets in the way so often anyways that something's going to come up and get in your way and you're not going to be able to do it. So if you say, I'm gonna not do something Thursday, I'm going to do something Saturday, I'm not going to do something Sunday. Well, now you've planned 3 days, you're not going to do something. But what happens when Tuesday you're tired, traffic sucks, and you're late for where you need to go, and you miss? So now you're missed 4 days. So that's why I'm like, no, life's going to get in the way. Always plan to go every day and do everything you need to do every day. Have that list, check that box, and do that consistently, because most of the time, life's going to give you your own rest days. And if you do really, really need one, then take it tomorrow. So I like that. So that's my take on goals and motivation. I think they're a little bit different than probably most people have heard and talked about. But for me, these are like lessons I learned along the way, and they were like game changers. Like, before I'd be like, yeah, tomorrow. I don't feel like it today, tomorrow. But once I changed that mindset, I don't miss days, and I've been more productive, and I've done more things. And the same thing too with goals. When I started thinking about, hey, what are the things I want in my life to be like, instead of just like putting objects that, to be honest with you, I'm not that fucking cool with. Like, I don't want to chase a bunch of material things and super expensive things just to say I have them. I'd rather enjoy the experience. And when you visualize the experience of what it is, then I think you're going to truly find fulfillment. So that's my take on it. That's my practice run on a podcast. I kind of like to do this where I just talk through it. Like, sometimes like thoughts are like floating around in my mind, and I gotta kind of like grab them out of the air, and it helps like contain them. And so once I kind of like dry run it and it's all over the place, then I kind of get like maybe a little bit more focused. Other ideas like, oh yeah, that's really more what I was thinking, and I can explain it better. So look forward to that. Like I said, my voice is shot, so I probably won't record it this weekend, like the official recording, but I might do another practice run on it. Who knows what will happen. Hope everybody's enjoying their Friday night. Hope you got more important things to do than to watch my live video on a Friday night. No, I appreciate y'all standing here, watching it, liking it, telling your friends and family about it. I do appreciate it. It's something that I'm surprised anybody wants to watch, to be honest with you. But it's what happens when you put yourself out of your comfort zone. You get feedback, and it's interesting to see how that goes and how you evolve with it. Fish Friday. If you guys are Catholic, don't eat meat on Fridays. I'm picking up some fish tacos and a shrimp burrito for the house. Getting to head home. I had a fucking amazing day, specifically an afternoon of one of the coolest cats I think I've met in a long, long time, and some really, really cool things I think are going to come from it. So I'm going to keep that on the DL for right now. I'll tell you all a little bit more when that kind of like develops, but there's some cool stuff happening. And I think, when you're open to ideas, and you're open to opportunities, and you're open to connecting and meeting with people, like, you don't know where you're going to go, and you don't know who's going to come across your path, and you don't know where things are going to go. And I just totally went down a rabbit hole because a friend, close friend, super connector friend of mine said, hey, meet this guy. And I did. And he said, hey, do this. And I said, you know what? I'm going to fucking do it. And no questions asked. We'll just see what happens. So if I am murdered tomorrow, it won't be tomorrow. Sometime this month, if I get murdered, you'll know that didn't go as planned. Maybe you should be more careful with who you meet with strangers, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you I had an amazing experience and met amazing people, and I still have my head attached and I'm not dead. So that being said, happy Friday night. Go out there, enjoy your lives, do fun stuff, do cool shit, meet cool people, live your best life. Don't let people what do we call it? Like if they like dim your shine, dim your light, dim your candle. Fuck it, you be you. Live your best life. You're gonna really, really like yourself if you take that advice. I know I have been getting out of my comfort zone, and it's feeling a lot better. That being said, I'm rambling. Talk to y'all next week. Bye.